Hello everyone. So today our lesson focus on the application of right and oblique triangle. Now before we proceed to the topic, let's have first our objectives. So at the end of the lesson, learners should be able to use ratios to solve problems involving angles of elevation and depression. Apply the laws of sine, cosines in solving problems involving oblique triangle, and solve situational problem involving bearing navigation. Now, before we proceed to the main topic, let's have first or differentiate this two figure. So we have the figure 1, we also have the figure 2. Now, if you observe this three figures are, this two figure, the figure 1 at saka yung figure 2 are both part of the triangle. But we have a specific name for this triangle. The first one is yung tinatawag natin na right uh, triangle. Pag sinabi nating right triangle, it has 90 degree and it use Pythagorean theorem. Okay, then we can also apply the basic trigonometric ratio, which is trigonometric ratio. And ito yung mga ratios or trigonometric ratio na tinatawag natin na SOHCAHTOA, meaning we have sine opposite hypotenuse, cosine adjacent and hypotenuse, tangent opposite and adjacent. On the other figure, which is yung figure 2, tinatawag po natin ito as oblique triangle. The oblique triangle has no 90 degree, okay, and we can only solve this one using the law of sines and cosine. Okay, then it also include acute and obtuse or obtuse triangle. Okay, now again, the figure 1 refers to right angle, which is it use Pythagorean theorem. We can also use basic trigonometric ratios, which is yung SOHCAHTOA. On the other figure, which is oblique triangle, we have solved or we can apply using the law of sine and cosine, and we also have acute and obtuse triangles. Okay, and the common side for this two are these are the type of or types of tinatawag natin na triangle. Have three sides, of course, have three sides and angle. Okay, so now the reason why I presented to you this one because this concept will be covered in this lesson. So we will going to explore the type of triangle. So we have here the right angle or right triangle of an elevation. We also have right triangle for an angle of depression. Now, what are those? Now, pag sinasabi nating right triangle of an elevation, yung observer po natin, for example, ito yung right triangle natin. Dito natin makikita si observer. Dito din natin makikita yung object. Okay? While yung tinatawag po natin na line of sight is itong hypotenuse. Okay? So, and we have the right angle here, and this will be the angle. Ibig sabihin, pag sinabi nating right triangle for an angle of elevation, yung observer is nasa baba, tapos yung object natin is nasa taas. Okay? So that is angle of elevation. On the other side, yung right triangle for an angle of depression, yung observer natin is nasa taas, while yung object is nasa baba. Okay? And we have this illustration. So basically, yung hypotenuse natin is yun yung tinatawag natin na line of sight. Right? So these are the two right triangle na kailangan natin i-familiarize because there are some problem na naga-connect sa ganitong situation or scenario or concept. Okay? Now, for example, we have here example number 1, the sunlight hits a flagpole, casting a shadow that stretches 49 feet along the ground. At that moment, the sun's ray form a 38-degree angle with the ground. So the question here is, how tall is the flagpole? Now, in this problem, if you're going to illustrate this, so we have this flagpole. Ito yung tinatawag natin na flagpole. And when the sun hit the flagpole, it create a sun ray, which is ito na part. This is considered as our sun ray. Now, after the sun ray, of course, it creates a shadow, which is ito from this point to this, from this point to here. So in this part, itong shadow natin based from the scenario, shadow that stretches 49 feet. So this is considered as our 49 feet, and the angle creates from the shadow is we have 38 degree. And of course, this is our right angle. Now the question here, or right triangle, the question here is we're looking for the height, which is from this one and this one. Now if you notice, yung given illustration natin is somehow similar sa discussion natin na trigonometric ratio, which is yung tinatawag natin na SOHCAHTOA. Now, we can actually apply the concept of SOHCAHTOA for us to identify the missing side. Now, if you check here, yung trigonometric ratio na magagamit natin for this is yung concept ng tan theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. Bakit tan theta or yung tangent yung ginagamit natin? If you observe sa ating ginawang illustration, we have the given na angle, we also have the horizontal or the adjacent, and the opposite is missing. So therefore, based from given, pwede natin gamitin si tangent. Now let's try to solve identify the size or the tall of our flagpole. So we have here tan. Yung theta natin that is considered as our angle is equal to opposite. Since yung opposite natin is missing, so you can just write x here. Then yung adjacent natin, we have 49. Now, in this part, since yung goal natin is to identify the value of x, so we can make this one as fraction, then do the cross multiplication. So we have x here, then tan 38, then multiply to 49. Now, if you have your calculator para ma-identify po natin yung value, so you just have to input tan 38 times 49. So the possible answer will be 38.28, and the unit that we're going to use is feet since yun yung given. So therefore, ang value ng x natin dito is we have 38.28 feet. So that is the process. Okay? Another example is we have this one. Okay. Alright. Alright. So, example number 2. A ranger station in a fire tower that stands 65 meters above the ground spots a fire below. Okay? Spots a fire below. So, the ranger's line of sight of the fire forms an angle of depression of 18 degrees. How far of or is the how far is the fire from the base of the tower? Now, based from this problem, we can actually illustrate. So, gagawa po tayo ng illustration depende kung paano natin ina-absorb yung information. So, let's say for example, ito yung tower natin. Okay. Ito yung tower. Now, from the ranger tower or ranger station in a fire tower stand 65 meters above. So, this means yung height ng tower natin create 65 meter. So, ito yung 65 meter. Then, the ranger side from this point to this fire, okay, creates okay, so we have, say for example, ito yung fire natin, ganyan. So, the ranger's line of sight to the fire forms of angle of depressions of 18 degree. So, this is our angle of depressions, which is we have 18 degree. So, actually, in this problem, we have two possible solutions. So, ipakita ko lang later. So, this will be our first or second illustration. And ito yung first natin. So, if you notice, we have 18. And remember that if i-add po natin yung angle sa dalawa, I mean, this angle here, pag i-add po natin ito, yung 18 plus this missing angle, that equivalent for 90 degree. So, para ma-identify po natin yung missing angle here, so we have 18 minus or 90 minus 18 degree. So, that is equivalent for 72 degree. Okay, so this is 72 degree, and this is also 65 meter. Right now, in this part, sabi ko kanina, we have two methods in order for us to identify the measure, okay, of our, um, the measure of from the base to the given fire. So yung hinahanap po natin dito is itong horizontal po dito na part. Okay? So, in this case, we will going to solve. For a second. So we will going to show the solution for first method natin. First method, we can use the angle which is 72 degree. So same, if you observe, we have the given angle, meron tayong height. So yung hinahanap po natin is the opposite of the given angle. So this means we can use the tangent pa din. So first we have tangent theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. So tan, yung theta natin, so say for example, ito yung gamitin natin which is 72 degree is equal to the opposite. So yung opposite natin is missing. So isulat lang natin yung x over the adjacent is yung dito na side, yung height ng tower that will be considered as our adjacent which is 65. Okay? Now, same process pa din, you have to cross multiply this one. So we have x here is equal to tan 72 multiplied to 65. So same pa din, if you have your calculator with you, you can input a tangent. Okay, so we have tangent 72 then multiply to 65. So yung value po natin, we have 200. So therefore, we have 200, unit will be meter. So therefore, yung measure ng x po natin dito na part is equal to 200. Now, let me show you also the method number 2. Which is, since yung theta natin kanina or yung angle na ginamit natin kanina is 72, let's try to use the value which is kaning 18. Okay? So let's try. Same pa din yung formula gamitin. We have tangent, then theta over opposite, then adjacent. So, tan, yung angle natin that is 18 degree is equal to, yung opposite ng 18 natin that is equal to 65. Then yung adjacent ng 18 degree is x since that is missing. So in this part, we can cross multiply pa din. So we have 1 here. So that is tan 18 multiplied to x is equal to 65. Now, since ang goal natin is to identify the value of x, so we have to divide tan 18. This one also tan 18. Kasi this is cancelled out. Kasi i-divide po natin sila. So magiging 1 multiply to x. So x na lang. So this part, you have to divide the 65 and tan 18. So input lang po natin sa calculator. So 65 divided by tan 18. So that is equal to, same pa din, we have 200 meter. So therefore, the measure of the fire from the base of the tower it measures 200 meter. Okay, now let's move on to our next problem. Okay, now say for example, we have the third problem. A tree is struck by lightning and snaps off 50 feet above the ground. The top part of the tree, 125 feet long, rests with the tip on the ground, while the broken end rests on the top of the stump. What angle does the top part of the tree make with the ground? So, if you observe from our first problem and second problem, we're just looking for the side. But itong example number 3 natin is ang hinahanap po natin is angle. So this is quite different from our first and second problem. Now, if you're going to illustrate this problem, so for example, yung lightning, this is our tree. Okay, bear with me, I'm not good in drawing. So ito yung tree natin, and it's struck by the lightning. Ganyan. And from this lightning to the ground, that is measure 50 feet. And from lightning to the top of the tree, it take 125 feet. Now, the question here is we're looking for the angle. Okay? So, yung angle po yung hinahanap natin. Now, in the first place, or in the first process, you have to identify the, okay, if you observe here, kailangan po natin balikan yung trigonometric ratio. So, since we're looking for the angle, given na meron na po tayong opposite ni angle at saka yung hypotenuse, so in this part, we can use the formula which is yung sine theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Since yun man yung given. Now, since missing yung angle natin, so you can just write x here. Yung opposite that is equal to 50. Okay, wag na lang natin palagyan ng unit. 50, then hypotenuse that is equal to 125. Now, solve. 50 divided by 125, that is equal to 0.4. Now, I understand that some of you may think na para ma-identify po natin, sir, yung value ng x, kailangan po natin i-divide by sine, which is not possible. Kasi pag i-divide mo yan sa sine, wala po tayong value dyan. Okay? So, in this case, we need to apply the inverse process or inverse function of sine. Okay? Inverse function of sine. Pag sinabi nating inverse function, that is kabaliktaran ni sine. So, ang sabay kabaliktaran ni sine? So, that is sine raised to negative 1. So, since ang hinahanap po natin is just the value of x, so para ma-identify po yung value ng x natin, so ilagay lang si x dito na part, then equals to, ang sine magiging sine negative 1, since that is the inverse, then isulat si 0.4. Now, in this part, para ma-finalize mo na yung result, i-click mo lang si shift, tapos click si sine. So maglabas dyan sa calculator niya si sine raised to -1, then input 0.4. Then, click equal sign. So this means ang export natin dyan or yung angle that is equal to 23.58 degree. And that will be the answer. All right? Okay. Now, since we're done with the uh, topic about right triangle, elevation, and depression, now let's move on to the law of sine. Now, sa law of sine, meron po tayong mga case na kailangan natin tandaan or i-remember. Okay? Now, sa law of sine, this is applicable if we're looking for or yung law of sine natin is magagamit lang po natin yan sa mga triangle na which is oblique triangle. For example, you can identify the side and also the angle of the given oblique triangle. Okay, so let's say we have the congruence axiom includes the side angle side or we have SAS. We also have angle side angle which is yung tinatawag natin na ASA. We also have side 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 which is yung triple S. So which are very useful in understanding the law of sine and cosine in an oblique triangle. So pag sinabi po natin, okay ha, pag sinabi po natin na SAS, meaning side angle side. Ang illustration po niyan, for example, ito yung oblique triangle natin. Side, angle, side. Yun yung magiging illustration. So, given, meron tayong dalawang angle or meron tayong side, nakagitna yung angle, then another side. And we also have ASA. Ibig sabihin, angle, side, angle. For example, ito yung magiging oblique triangle po natin. So, angle, side, angle, ibig sabihin, this is our angle given the side and another angle. Okay? So, angle, side, angle. Alright? And last one is yung tinatawag natin na side, side, side. So, for example, we have side here, another side, another side. So, yun yung mga congruence or congruences na kailangan natin tandaan para maintindihan natin ng maayos yung law of sine at saka yung cosine when it comes to oblique triangle. Now, let's go to the law of sine in oblique triangle. Sa law of sine of oblique triangle, if ABC is a triangle, okay, with A, B, and C that is considered as our side with side A, B, and C, then we have the formula which is A over sine A is equal to B, smaller b, then sine B, then equals to smaller c over sine C. Again ha, huwag malito when it comes to smaller a at saka capital letter A or smaller b or capital letter B. Yung smaller a refers to the side of the given triangle while yung bigger A or capital A refers to the given angle, and that is the same explanation with the other. Now, in this formula, we can rewrite, okay, we can rewrite this form in terms of its reciprocal. Pag sinabi natin reciprocal, ibig sabihin kabaliktaran. So, if the first problem is nag-una si A over sine A, so if i-reciprocal po natin yan, magiging sine A over A, then sine B over B, then you also have sine C over C. So yun. Now let's try to use this problem or use this formula para maintindihan po natin kung paano natin gamitin yung problem or yung formula. For example, for example, find the remaining sides and the angle of the triangle. So yung illustration po natin dyan is ganito. So, yan. So this is our A, B, and C. So yung angle C natin, that is equivalent to 102.3 degree. Huwag kalimutan lagyan ng degree. This is 28.7 degree. Then the opposite will be 27.4 feet. Then we have smaller c and A. Now find the remaining sides and angle of the triangle. So yung missing natin is yung angle A, the side of C, and the side A. Now, pag hinahanap po natin yung angle, which is ito na part, remember na pag i-add po natin lahat ng angle inside the triangle, it creates or it results a 180 degree. So this means, para ma-identify po natin yung angle A, so we can write the solution na angle A is equal to 180. Subtract lang po natin yan sa angle C plus angle B. Okay? So we have 180 minus angle C, that is equivalent for 102.3, plus angle B, that is 27 point or 28.7. So we have 180 minus, i-add mo lang si 102.3 plus 28.7. So that is equivalent to 131. So para ma-identify si angle A, i-subtract mo lang si angle or si 180 kay 131. So 180 minus 131, that is that is 49 degree. Okay? To check if your solution correct, then you can just add this angle together with 102 at saka 28.7. Okay? Now, since na-solve na po natin yung angle A, then proceed tayo sa side A. Now, we can use this formula. So, first, we have sine A over A is equal to sine B over B. Now, solve natin. I-change mo lang yung mga given. So, we have sine. Yung angle A natin, that is equivalent for 49 over yung A natin na maliit, since wala mang value, so just have to copy A. So, sine B, that is 28.7. Yung B natin, that is equivalent for 27.4. Now, saan galing si B? Yung 27.4, that is the opposite of B natin. Opposite. Okay? Now, this part, you just have to cross multiply. Okay? Cross multiply mo lang silang dalawa. So we have A here. Then we have sine 28.7 is equal to sine 49 multiplied to 27.4. Now, if you prefer, cancel out diretso. So we have sine 28.7. Then we also have here sine 28.7. So this is cancelled out. So matira na lang si A. Now, if you're going to input this one sa calculator, isa-isa, okay, reminder lang, if ongoing pa po yung solution natin, do not round off your answer. Kasi pag i-round off po natin yan, may tendency na mali po yung final result. Okay? Kasi remember that ongoing pa yung solution or yung process. So, no need to round off. Okay? Now, let's try. I-input natin. So, sine 49. So, sine 49. So, that is sine 49 multiplied to 27.4. So, that is 20.6790,425. Same goes to sine 28.7. So that is 0.480223,497. Now, since nandito na tayo sa final, so doon, pwede mo na kunin yung 2 decimal places. For example, we have 20.67 90425 divided by 0.480223,497. So we have 43. 43.06. Now the given unit, that is feet. So the angle, the side, is equal to 43.06. Okay? Now, let's try to solve for the value of C. Since nakuha naman natin yung A, nakuha na natin yung angle A, then let's proceed sa C. Okay? So, yung formula natin, same pa din. Sine B over, sine B over B, then sine C over C. Now, solve. So, sine, yung B natin, that is equivalent for 28.7 divided by yung opposite ni B, that is 27.4. Then, sine C, that is 102.3. Then, yung C natin is missing. Okay? So, let's continue. Solve. So, dito na part, you know na, i-do cross multiply. So, yung maiwan is we have C multiplied to sine 28.7 is equal to sine 102.3, then multiply by 27.4. Then, divide sine 28.7, then sine 28.7. So, this is cancelled out. So, C na lang matira. Then, same pa din, you multiply first yung numerator. For example, para makita. So, we have sine 102.3 then multiply by 27.4. So yung result natin is we have 26.77104.874. Tapos, yung sa denominator natin is same pa din, 0.480223,497. Then, you divide para makuha po natin yung side na C. So, we have 26.77104874 divided by 0.480223,497. So, yung value ng C natin, that is equivalent for 55.74. So, since kunin natin yung 100 place, so that is 75 feet. And that is the solution. Alright? Now, let's continue. Proceed po tayo sa second problem. Okay. For example, this one. So, pole tilts towards the sign at 12 degrees from the vertical and it casts a shadows of 25 feet. The angle of elevation from the tip of the shadow to the top of the pole is 47 degrees. Let's find the height of the pole. Now, ibig sabihin, yung pole daw is nag-tilt toward the sun. For example, ito yung pole natin. This is our pole. This one, tilt toward the sun. Now, based from this illustration, it creates the 47 degree. Okay, it creates 47 degree, which is from this point to this point. This is 47 degree, and a pole tilts toward the sign at 12 degree. So if ito yung magiging right angle natin, so it creates this angle as 12 degree. Okay, so this means we're looking for the measure of this side, which is A natin dito. This is our angle B, or yeah, and from this point B to point A, it creates 25 measure. Then this is considered as our C, and from point C to point A, that is considered as our B. Now remember that this angle here is equivalent for 90 degree. Now, the question here is we need to identify the height of the pole. Okay? Yung height ng pole ang hinahanap natin. Now, let's try to check ano yung mga given. Okay? Ano yung nasa problem. Okay? So, first, we have the angle A, that is the given, and our angle B. So, we have angle A here, that is 47 degree. Yung angle B natin, remember that is 90 degree plus the 12. So, 90 degree plus 12 degree that is equivalent for 102 degree. Okay, so this time let's identify. Okay, so in this case, yung angle C natin, para ma-identify po natin yung angle C, so we just have to create 180 minus the angle A plus the angle B. Okay, so we have 180 minus yung angle A natin, that is 47, plus angle B, that is 102. Then 180 natin, so 47 plus 102, that is equivalent for 149. Then subtract para ma-identify po natin si angle C. So 180 minus 149, that is equivalent for 31 degree. So this means yung angle C natin, that is equivalent for 31 degree. Now remember, ang goal natin based sa question is to identify the height of the pole. Ibig sabihin, ito na part ang hinahanap natin, which is angle A or the side A. Now, based from the given illustration, ano yung process na kailangan natin gamit? So same pa din, gamitin po natin yung sine or law of sine, which is we have sine A over A, then we have sine B over, or yung given natin, we have C naman, so pwede natin gamitin si C. Okay, so sine C para hindi po tayo mahirapan. So sine A, yung sine A, yung A natin, that is 47 degree. Then yung A natin na maliit, so since that is missing, which is this one, so isulat lang natin yung A. Then sine C, we have 31. Then yung maliit na C, that is the opposite, so we have 25. Okay, now in this part, so same pa din yung process, you do the cross multiply. So we have A here, multiply to sine 31 is equal to sine 47 multiply to 25. Para ma-cancel out natin si sine 31, so you just have to divide both sides by sine 31. Here as well, sine 31. So this is cancelled out. So A na lang matira. So same pa din yung process. I-multiply lang po natin si sine 47 kay 25. So yung result natin will be 18.28, 38, 425, and 4. Then, yung denominator natin, we have sine 31. So that is equal to 0.515, 0.380, then 7, 4. Now, para makuha natin yung height ng pole natin, so you just have to divide 18.28 38 ba yan? Yeah. 384254 divided by 0.515038074. So, ang height ng pole natin measures 35.49. So, kailangan you can just get the 2 decimal places. So, we have this one. Alright? So, this means the height of our pole measures 35.5 feet. All right. Now, those are the example under kay law of sine. Now, let's proceed kay law of cosine. So, law of cosine is somehow madaming mga process or formula kailangan i-familiarize. Now, we have here, so same pa din, if the three sides of the triangles are SSS or side, 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 or side angle side, then the law of sine cannot be applied. So which means you have to use the law of cosine in solving that problem. So before we start, we have this formula. Okay, so we have the standard form and also the alternative. Ibig sabihin, you can either use the standard form or the alternative form. So pag sinabi nating standard form, if you're looking for the side of the given triangle, then use the standard form. Pero pag ang hinahanap mo is the angle of the given triangle, then you have to use the alternative form. So we have first, a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos angle A. We also have b squared, then a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cos b. Then c squared. We have a squared plus b squared minus 2ab then cos c. So these are the formula under kay standard form. Now proceed tayo kay alternative. So we have cos A. So we have b squared plus c squared minus a squared over 2bc. So we have also cos b equals to a squared plus c squared minus b squared over 2 ac. Okay, next, the last one, cosine c, a squared plus b squared minus c squared all over 2ab. So, ito yung mga formula na kailangan mo i-familiarize when it comes to solving oblique triangle under law of cosine. Now, for example, find the measure, okay? Find the measures of the three angles of the triangle. So, yung illustration po natin will be this one. So, we have this angle here. Yan. Okay. So, we have C, B, and A. The opposite of A, that is 8 feet. Opposite of B, that is 19 feet. Opposite of C, that is 14 feet. Now, find the measure of the three angles of the triangle. So meaning, ang hinahanap po natin is the angle of the given triangle. So first, in this case, we can start the solution by finding the opposite or the angle opposite of the longest side, which is the angle B. So in this part, we can use the formula, which is the cos sine B is equal to a squared plus b squared minus, ano, that is c squared minus b squared over 2ac. Since yun yung hinahanap po natin. So, yeah, same solution or same formula. So, let's proceed. So, ang gawin mo lang is substitute everything based from the given problem. Okay? So, we have A natin that is 8 feet plus yung C natin that is 14 squared minus our B that is 19 squared over 2, yung A natin that is 8 multiplied to C that is 14. So, cos B. Now, calculate yung nasa numerator natin. So, 8 squared, we have 64 plus, if we have 14 squared, that is 196 minus, if we have 19 squared, that is equivalent to 361. Okay. Now, calculate the denominator. So 2 times 8 times 14. So that is equivalent to 224. So cos B. So cos B is equal to, i-add mo lahat yung nasa numerator, then subtract. So 64 plus 196, that is equivalent to 260 minus 361. So that is negative 101. So negative 101 over 224. So cos B is equal to negative 101 divided by 224. So that is negative 0.50892.857. Now, remember, since we're looking for the angle, so ang process na gamitin po natin is identify the inverse. So, ibig sabihin, in this part, you have to apply the inverse function of cosine. Pag mag-inverse function of cosine po tayo, ibig sabihin, tanggalin po natin yung cosine or yung itong cos. So, maiwan na lang is angle B. Then is equal to cos negative 1 or raised to negative 1, then copy negative 0.450892.857. Now, angle B natin. So, calculate lang. So, that is equivalent to 116.8 degree. So, therefore, the angle B natin is equal to 116.8. Okay? Now, so that is under kay angle B. So, hindi pa po tayo tapos. So in this part, same pa din yung process. Kailangan po natin hanapin yung angle A. Okay? So, yung solution po natin, so angle A yung hanap. Okay? So, yung formula. So, in this part, so since meron ng value yung B natin, so we can apply the law of sine para at least madali lang yung process. So, it's up to you. You can either use the alternative formula para ma-identify yung angle A or law of sine. But in this case, para madali lang, so we can use the law of sine. So we have sine A over A is equal to sine B over B. Now, sine A is missing, so you just have to write sine A. Then yung A natin, yung opposite ng A natin, that is 8. Then sine B, yung angle B natin, so that is 116.8. Then yung B na opposite, that is 19. Now, do the cross multiplication. So we have sine A multiplied to 19, then equal to sine 116.8 multiplied to 8. Okay? Now this part, you can divide both sides by 19. So, divide both sides by 19 para matanggal po natin si 19. So, this is cancel out. So, sine A is equal to sine 116. So, i-multiply mo lang sine 116.8 multiply by 8. So, yung result is 7.140,686,548 divided by 19. So, sine A, so i-divide lang, divide by 19. So, we have 0.375825, then 607. Now again, since we're looking for the angle, so apply the inverse function. Okay? So, mangyari, so we have angle A. So, sine -1. So, copy 0.375825,607. So, angle A is, so we have sine or sine -1. Then, we have 0.375825,607. So, yung result natin is we have 22 point. Yung pwede man natin kunin yung 2 decimal places, so magiging 0.8. So, that is a degree. Alright. Now, in this case, madali lang natin ma-identify si angle C. Tama? It's because meron na po tayong measure kay angle A at saka kay angle B. Na pag i-add po natin yung tatlong angle that compose of 180 degree. So this means, so if we're looking for angle C, so angle C is equal to 180 minus the angle A plus angle B. So 180 degree minus angle A, that is 22.08, plus angle B natin that is 116.8. Then i-add 180 minus. So that is 22.08 plus 116.8. Yeah, point 0.8. So that is 138.88. Para makuha yung angle C natin, i-subtract mo lang. So, 180 minus 138.88. So, yung angle C natin is equal to 41.12. And that will be our answer. And do not forget to write degree. Okay? Alright. So, that's it. And we're not yet done. So, meron pa po tayong last two problem. Okay? Oops. Now, let's say for example, a tower or a 23.5 meter tall tower forms an angle of 110.2 degree with an inclined road. So a point is located 28.2 meters down the road from the base of the tower. So the question here is, what is the angle subtended by the tower at that point? Pag sinabi po natin na subtended, ibig sabihin extension. Okay? Now, the illustration for this problem will be like this one. So, for example, ito yung tower natin. In tower, of course, then we have this line, and we also have this line. Okay? So, if this is our tower, and the tower measured we have 23.5 meter, and the angle forms an angle of 100, this one 110.2 degree, and a point is located 28.2 meter from this point. Okay, so in this part we're looking for the angle subtended. Okay, now we first, in this process, we first calculate the the third side of the triangle, which is the line of sight from the top of the tower. So ibig sabihin, ang hinahanap po natin is ito. I-solve pa po natin yan. Okay? In that part, we can use the formula, which is, so since ito yung hinahanap natin, so we can use c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared minus 2ab then cos c. Okay? So, let's try. Substitute lang yung mga given. So, we have ang a natin that is 23. So, 23.5 squared plus our b is 28.2 squared minus 2, then 23.5, then 28.2, then cosine yung c natin that is equivalent for 110. Then calculate. So if we have 23.5 squared. So that is we have 552 point oops meron tayong 2.25 plus 28.2 squared, that is 795.24. In this part, you do calculation automatic. So 2 times 23.5 times 28.2. So meron tayo 1325.4. Then multiply by cos 110.2. Now, i-add lang muna 552.25 plus 795.24. So meron tayong 1,347.49 minus. Dito na part, you multiply. So 1325.4 times cos 110.2. So meron tayong negative 457.658233. 8233. Then, same pa din, you do this one. Pag meron tayong like sign, yung both negative and negative, so negative times negative magiging positive. So, ibig sabihin, you have to add. So, we have 1347.49 minus negative 457.658233. So, yung result natin is we have 805.148 148,233. So 233. Now since ang hinahanap lang po natin is the square root, the value of c. So since ang c is naka-raise to the power of 2, so ang gawin natin is i-raise or squared both side yung part para ma-cancel out natin yan. So c na lang matira. So squared, the answer is equal to 42.49. So the measure will be meter since that is the unit. Okay, so the side, which is C, is equal to 42.49 meter. Now, ang hinahanap po natin is the subtended tower. So in this part, so we can use the law of sine para at least madali lang yung process natin. Okay? So we have first course, yung first process natin is we have sine A over A is equal to sine B over B. Okay? So since ang hinahanap natin is the subtended angle, so we have to write sine A. So since sine A is missing, ang A natin is 23.5 is equal to yung B natin, that is 102 sine 110.2 over the B is equivalent to 42.49. Okay? In this part, do the cross multiply para ma-identify natin yung sine A. So, sine A multiplied to 42.49 is equal to sine 110.2 multiplied by 23.5. Now, para ma-cancel out natin si 42, so you just have to divide both sides by 42.49. So this is cancelled out. So maiwan na lang is si sine A. Then, you do the calculation sa ating numerator. So sine 110.2 times 23.5. So yung result will be 2205458603 divide by 42.49. Okay? Now, in this case, para makuha po natin yung sine A, so, calculate. So, we have sine A, then, you divide by 42.49. So, yung result natin is equal to 0.519053566. So since yung hinahanap po natin is angle, so again, apply the inverse. Okay? You have to apply the inverse function. So angle A is equal to sine -1, then 0.59053.566. So angle A natin is equal to, same pa din, input, then answer, then yung result natin is equal to 31.27 degree. Alright? So this means the subtended angle, or the angle subtended by the tower, the point, is equal to 31.27 degree. Ibig sabihin, ito na angle na to na nag-extend, okay, na nag-extend sa tower, this one is equal to 31.27 degree. Alright? Now, let's proceed to the last problem. So, for example, this one. So, a ship travels 70 miles directly east, then changes direction and heads northward. After covering 85 miles in these new directions, the ship is found to be 129 miles away from its original starting point. Okay? Ano ibig sabihin yan? So, a ship traveled 70 miles east. So, if this is the ship, kaniyang ship, move siya 70 miles. Okay? From point A to point B, it changed direction and heads northward. So, which is northward, which covered 85 miles. And this will be considered as our point C. Now, if you're going to check from the original point A to point C, it creates 100 29 miles. Okay, now describe the bearing point. The question here is describe the bearing point from point B to point C. So, ibig sabihin, ang hinahanap po natin ng question or solution is from point B, this one, to point C. Okay? Now, let's try. So, the solution will be, since three sides are given from this problem, then we can apply the law of cosine, which is, we have cos B is equal to A squared plus B squared minus ups. That's supposedly C minus B squared over 2AC. So, yung A natin, opposite, that is 85 squared plus yung C natin, that is 70 squared minus yung B natin, that is 129 squared, all over 2 multiplied to 85 multiplied to 70. So this is cos B. So cos B is equal to, you calculate your the numerator. So we have 85 squared, 85 squared, that is 7,225 plus we have 70 squared, that is 49 minus 129 squared, that is 16,641, all over, calculate. So 2 times 85 times 70. So yung result is 11,900. So cos B, so calculate lang sa taas, 7,225 plus 49 equals minus 16,641. So we have negative 4,516 divided by 11, 9. So cos B, calculate. So negative 4,516 divided by 11,900. So we have negative 0.379495,798. So again, ang hinahanap natin is angle B. So we have to use the inverse. Okay? So angle B is equal to cosine negative 1. Then we have negative 0.379495,798. So yung angle B natin is equal to shift cos answer is equal to 112.30 degree. Okay? But remember, ang hinahanap po natin dito na measured is bearing, Note, bearing are measured clockwise from north. So, ibig sabihin, from this solution or from this illustration po natin sa ito, so remember na yung bearing natin is from this point. This is north. And yung bearing natin is clockwise. Okay, clockwise, this one. So this means we're looking for the measure of this angle. Now remember that if this angle is equal to 112.30, so to identify this angle, you just have to subtract. Okay, so this means, so we have angle, okay, so we have angle B is equal to 112.30 minus 90 degree. This is 90 degree here, 90 degree. So angle B is equal to subtract 112.30 minus 90, that is 22.3. 92.3 degree. So this means it state here that hence the bearing taken from north from point B to point C is 22.3 degree. And that's end of our discussion under with law of cosine, law of sine in oblique triangle, and right triangle for an angle of elevation and depressions. So thank you for your time in listening to our discussion. Bye for now.